Based on the reviews and the fact that this is a reverent biopic of a famously disgraced star, I expected Michael to be a disaster, but much to my surprise, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
There are two kinds of music biopics, the big, lavish, celebrity worship ones like Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, and the bleak, de-romanticized, this is what he was really like ones like Sofia Coppola's Priscilla. And Michael plants itself firmly in the former camp. This movie is not interested in exploring the darker side of Michael's life. It's only interested in showing him as the defining star of his generation. It's all fluff, with little to no drama, but it could be a lot worse. It looks amazing, it sounds amazing, and the soundtrack, by virtue of the film's subject matter, is wall-to-wall bangers. The biggest criticism aimed at Michael is that it refuses to address the elephant in the room. There's a lot of Michael acting like a child, watching cartoons and playing with toys, but not a word about allegations or police raids or sleepovers at Neverland Ranch. So whether or not you enjoy the film depends on whether or not that's a deal breaker. We all know what Michael's been accused of, we've all seen Leaving Neverland, or at least the headlines that Leaving Neverland generated, and whether the movie wants to acknowledge it or not, it does cast a long shadow over the film. There are plenty of seemingly harmless images with disturbing connotations. We see Michael reading Peter Pan, visiting sick kids in the hospital, goofing around in a toy shop as a fully grown man. If you can get over the fact that this is a sanitized version of the story, focusing more on his game-changing musical talent than his personal problems, then you might just get swept up in the whitewashed Hollywood fantasy. Michael has all the cliches that have been done to death in other musician biopics, and expertly lampooned in spoofs like Walk Hard and the Weird Al movie.
Who my little hungry one? Hungry one, open up a package of my banana.
Dude, I've got chills.
As soon as Michael turns on the TV, there happens to be a well-timed news report that inspires him to write a hit. When a young Michael starts singing in the studio, the jaded record executive does a double take because he can't believe how good this kid's singing is.
It was so groundbreaking that an apathetic sound mixer put down his newspaper and his stale cup of coffee to pay attention. Well, this song has one line. I'm gonna sing it several times, not just once.
And after watching this and the Springsteen movie and the Elton John movie, I'm convinced you need a really shitty dad to be a great musician. As a side note, Coleman Domingo is incredible as that shitty dad. He commands the screen as always, and he really leans into that shittiness. It's heartbreaking to watch him exploit and abuse and monetize this poor kid his whole life. We've seen all these tropes and conventions in all the other biopics. They're starting to get more formulaic than Marvel movies. But that formula works for a reason. It's a classic Cinderella story. And Michael does that formula well. It hits all the right beats, it strikes all the right nostalgic chords, and it doesn't waste a second of its screen time, except maybe the bit where Michael chats it up with some kids in line at the toy shop.
You're awesome.
I think you're awesome too, Cartman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What's the matter, Stan? You have a bad dream?
I loved the first half an hour. That section covers Michael's childhood with the Jackson 5 and shows him being discovered by Motown and becoming a massive star when he's like 10 years old. Honestly, I could have watched a whole movie just focused on that section of Michael's life, with that kid playing it. That young actor, Giuliano Valdi, is incredible. He captures all the right emotions and never hits a false note acting-wise, but he also has the genuine star power and prodigious musical talent of a young Michael Jackson. The way he sings, the way he dances, it bowls you over the way Michael himself did back in the day. Valdi recaptures the indescribable magic that made Michael a star, where he's sharing the stage with 4 older brothers twice his size and completely stealing the show. Michael's brothers are towering over him, playing their instruments beautifully, and yet you can't take your eyes off Michael. I was actually disappointed when the movie time jumped into Michael's adulthood because it meant we wouldn't get to see that kid again. Jafar Jackson did a great job too. He's a dead ringer for his late uncle, and much like O'Shea Jackson Jr. in Straight Outta Compton, he has the performance to back him up. He doesn't just look like his uncle, just like O'Shea Jackson Jr. doesn't just look like his dad. They understand what what makes their subject tick, what kind of background and upbringing they came from, and they bring that to the screen. Jafar captures his uncle's charm and sensitivity, and he also has that star quality. I thought One Love was one of the most underrated music biopics in recent years. Bob Marley had a very particular physicality and stage presence, and one of the most impressive things about Kingsley Ben-Adir's performance was his ability to replicate that seamlessly. Jafar Jackson does the same thing in Michael. Michael Jackson's body language on stage is even more distinctive than Bob Marley's, and Jafar makes it look effortless. But as great as he is, he's never quite as great as his tiny predecessor in that opening sequence.
You've got to be aggressive, even more aggressive than Michael Jackson's treatment of his own groin on stage.
Michael Jackson's music is so timeless and so groundbreaking and just so damn good that it's worth the price of admission just to hear all those incredible songs coming out of a professional speaker system. The movie on top of that is just gravy. It's like Bohemian Rhapsody with much better editing. The main draw is the music, just like Bohemian Rhapsody, so it doesn't matter much that the story and characters are very clunky and conventional. But where Bohemian Rhapsody has some of the most jarring, incoherent editing I've ever seen, and it still somehow won an Oscar, Michael's editing is really smooth and engaging. There are 4 editors credited on Michael, so it's a miracle that it's coherent at all. But I thought the whole movie flowed really well. If anything, it flows a bit too fast. The film maintains a breakneck pace from start to finish. It means a lot of stuff gets glossed over and simplified, but it holds your attention. On the whole, I think the film does a good job of humanizing Michael, and that's mostly down to Jafar Jackson's performance. But there's an argument to be made that an alleged you-know-whatophile shouldn't be humanized, and that brings us back around to the elephant in the room, or the giraffe in the back garden, to use a more appropriate metaphor. Like Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody, Michael is very, very reverent of its subject. As far as the movie is concerned, Michael can do no wrong. He went straight to the top and didn't ruffle any feathers on the way. The best music biopics, from One Love to Rocket Man to Better Man to A Complete Unknown, don't shy away from their subject's flaws and mistakes and humanness. They lean into it. But Michael couldn't be less interested in challenging any controversy beyond the absolute bare minimum. When Michael gets a pet chimpanzee, making this the second music biopic in 2 years to feature a CG monkey, Michael's mum has a perfunctory throwaway line about how it's a bad idea to keep a chimp as a pet. And then there's 10 minutes of Bubbles being all cute and rascally and basically a perfect pet. It's the same thing that frustrated me and Deliver Me From Nowhere. It touches on the idea that Bruce is depressed and he's not a very good romantic partner and he was traumatized by his dad's abuse, but it barely pays any lip service to any of those complicated issues because it's too busy kissing Bruce's ass.
But in this office, my office, we believe in Bruce Springsteen.
That's what this movie does to Michael Jackson, except it's significantly more uncomfortable because Bruce Springsteen, for all his faults, didn't create his own Disneyland at his house and invite a bunch of kids to stay the night.
Hey, you want to play with me? Come on, let's climb the tree. Come on, climb the tree, climb the tree.
You know, I was wondering, if...
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.
It makes me feel like that.